Recently, I found this amazing effect on the internet. I unfortunately forgot who made it, so if you know, let me know. And now let's see how we can recreate that stuff inside of Blender. By the way, all the files are down in the description. And now, while we are in Blender, let's head to this little plus sign and go to Motion Tracking Layout. And we shall import our frame sequence and set the frame range and prefetch the data so it will play back a bit faster. I'm zooming in into the footage with scroll wheel and pressing Ctrl left click brings this little pattern or tracker, whatever. So I'm putting few of those on the places that I know will not change throughout the tracking. By the way, I don't really know much about the tracking, so this track will be dirty. So if you are a purist and would like to know more, then I will link some amazing tutorials down there below that are fully professional and dive deep into the science and ins and out of this entire tracking situation. Now I am trying to track the video, and as you can see I have selected all the trackers with A button and press Ctrl T to run through entire sequence. I'm going to the Solve tab, selecting tripod because the camera is basically not moving, selecting this and this option and pressing Solve Camera. And here in the corner you will see the solve error, which is below 1 pixel, and everything below 1 pixel will be usable for our tracking purposes. So I'm setting the background of the camera. Just a second, yep. Oh, Blender, why is this looking like this? I don't know what can be a reason for that. Damn. See a YouTuber struggle in real time. Oh, it just clicked like this. Computers can surprise us. Okay, let's set up the camera. I will press Alt R and Alt G to reset the camera position, and I'll rotate it on the x-axis by 90 degrees, move it up a bit around 2 meters and move it back around 10 meters so that it roughly matches the position of actual recording. Let's move the cube aside. And now let's set up the tracking to appear on the scene. It's down there in the bottom. Set up tracking scene. Cool. All our trackers are now in the scene. I will delete the foreground because I do not need it. Leave the cube alone. Cool. Let me just zoom out and zoom in because I'm doing erratic movements like a human being. Let me select those two trackers, press Shift S and cursor to select it, and we will spawn a plane in the place of this cursor, the location of the cursor. Let's rotate the plane so it faces our direction and go to the UV maps. In the UV maps we will call this UV map to be the original one because it has a default UV map, original without caps. Okay, now it's nice, do not scream at me. Let's add another UV map. This will be projected. Projected meaning that we will use this in texture painting, which we will go to in a moment. While having the projected UV map selected, I will go and press Alt Z and zoom in a bit. With Control Space you are like maximizing the working space, so I want to see up close where I am putting those vertices so that it matches the corners of this object. And as you can see, the tracking is successful. Now the plane is sticking to the surface. And that's what we wanted. Let's project this from view and let's change this window to UV editor. And now there is no footage in here, so we will open one frame from the frame sequence as a reference. And it is not aligned for some reason, most likely because of resolution or scale. So I will do it manually, no problem. And I am just putting those 4 vertices into the corners of this object so it roughly matches what we have on the screen. And when this is done, let me tab out of this situation, and we will do another texture by pressing new in here, and this texture will be the projected texture, the original texture, which we will paint over for the animation purposes. I'm doing it quite small because the resolution of the video is small, so I don't worry about that. Now let's head to the shading tab and create a new material that will be used for this effect. This will be an emit material. So we want this plane basically to be glowing, and by pressing Ctrl T I will have a basic texture setup to which I will plug in this texture that we just created a moment ago, and from here let's go for a moment to the texture painting, and let's go to the texture window and we will set it up to paint mode. Go to clone, actually no, let's change this UV for the original to the original one, and we will go to the texture painting window in here. My mistake. We want to now let's select clone brush and choose what texture will be affected by this clone brush. So single image in that window, and this original texture, make sure that this original UV coordinates are selected, and let's go to the brush setting. Now where was that thing? I'm struggling now. God damn, it disappeared. Just like that. It was here just like minutes ago. I'm confused now. It's clone brush, right? Okay, no, not in here. Advanced. And yeah, clone brush. Yes, that's right. We are searching for this advanced brush type, and we will select our clone source to be this one frame, and the UV coordinates to the projected, the one that we set up to match the picture. Now pressing the render preview will allow us to see what we are actually doing, and bam, like magic, the clone brush is cloning the source picture into the original picture, if that makes any sense, but it does. So now it will appear in the texture painting window, and in here I would like to just adjust, let's save it first. Remember always to save your work, and let's go to the airbrush, and with the airbrush I would like to remove those hinges, so I will be selecting color from this drop down eyedropper, and yeah, I'm just brutishly painting over the hinges so that they will not appear when moving. This is optional, I just think that it looks okay-ish. Right, and I would like to expose the hinges from the original picture. I will do so by actually deleting the fragments of the mesh, and to make this happen I'm adding some control loops with Ctrl R and sliding them to be roughly on the edges of those hinges. You can cut out various elements from the footage this way. Okay, I'm pressing 3 to change the selection to face and selecting those hinges, deleting them, and now we are almost good to go to the object mode and actually shading editor to animate the texture. We would like to animate, I would like to animate it on the y-axis, so I'm making one keyframe on the y-axis on the first frame, and on the last frame let's say I will move it by 5, with a factor of 5. Okay, let's go to the graph editor. I would like this move to be constant. So I am going to the graph editor, selecting all with A, pressing T, and selecting interpolation to be linear. And you are done! The texture is moving. Let's render that, and it's not done yet because something is broken. Let's investigate. Let's go quickly to compositing, and there is a layout here that is not really useful in our case, but I'm sure it might be useful in other cases, otherwise it wouldn't be here. Now, digressions aside, what we can do with this, we can plug this into the actual image, delete that node and delete this node. By the way, I'm deleting this with Ctrl X, and I think that the background needs to be transparent, so in the render settings under film I'm choosing transparent, and let's render this once again. Bang! Done! From here is just a matter of repeating the process until you are happy with your animations. And now you know what I want to ask. Like and subscribe, and I hope you found this useful. Bye bye!